Okay, let's do this. Hi everyone. I am finally here to talk about female hygiene on the bike. I have been wanting to make this video for a very long time, but I think I felt very overwhelmed about the subject, so I just kept on postponing it time after time. I think that the concept of female hygiene has never really been a concern of mine. At least it hasn't stopped me from just going on a bike tour. I feel pretty comfortable and just natural around the subject, and I've never really been intimidated by situations like um, not being able to shower for a few days and just partially washing on a stream or at the fountain of a village, or even having to stop by the side of the road to, hide in the bushes and do my necessities. Nevertheless, I have been approached by other women with different questions about the subject quite a few times, which made me realize that this matter may not come as easy to everyone and that actually there's no distinctive information out there to help out. I am hoping that by sharing my personal experience with you, it'll help you understand a little better the whole concept of female hygiene on a bike tour and that you'll be able to get good advice and tips to implement in your future trips. Of course, this is just me sharing with you how I do things, and under no circumstance I'm saying that this is the right or only way to do things, because there's many approaches and everyone is an individual. Actually, I would say that there's a lot of room for improvement, but for now, this is the setup that works for me and what I'm actually taking with me on my next bike tour in a few days. If there's anything that you're missing, maybe products or other approaches, then do share them in the comments below so that we can all exchange information and just be prepared as fully as possible. It very much depends on where we're traveling and what infrastructure is available. For example, when traveling in Europe, there is easy access to accommodations like hostels, hotels, warm shower hosts, campsites, and we take a shower if possible every few days. If we decide to go for a more frugal approach, then we'll mostly do wild camping evenings and we will use wet wipes or fountains on the way to clean ourselves and freshen up a little bit. The thing is that when the infrastructure is there, you feel like you need to shower or clean much more often than you do in remoteness. In Central Asia, for example, sometimes a whole village would depend on one water well. Kids and women come over to fill up buckets and they all wash themselves from it later. So, yeah, having a shower every day eventually becomes unimportant. It's not strictly needed, and it made me realize that it's more of a privilege that I am lucky enough to be able to enjoy when I'm back home. Wet wipes are your best ally on tour. They are not the most waste friendly, but indeed they do a good job. In my case, I cannot go to sleep without feeling somewhat clean. I sleep with different clothes from the ones I use during the day, which makes me feel more relaxed, as if I would have arrived home. And in this change of clothes is when I clean up with wet wipes. Usually two or three are enough for the whole body. We've spent weeks without seeing a shower like in Central Asia, but only 2 or 3 days without finding a source of water like a stream, where we could at least freshen up and fill up our water bag. The thing about using a man-made or natural water source to wash is that you don't really know where the water is going next. It could be filtered, it could be ending up in a river and cause damage to an ecosystem. This is why we try to avoid using soaps in these situations. We carry with us Dr. Bronner's soap, which is organic and one of the least harming products out there, but still it's an oil. The cool thing about Dr. Bronner is that you need a single drop to get a quick wash, so a little bottle like this one lasts us for months. Alternatively, we also carry an organic soap bar, which we'll use in showers or with the water bag. Carrying a water bag is very useful on long tours. We use the 8-liter water bag from Ortip, and it's fantastic for those long stretches where you cannot find any water on the way, but also on those days where you camp close to a stream or a lake and you fill it up with water to take a shower. In my case, this means washing my hair day. I would say that at home I wash my hair about twice a week, but when we're traveling, it's just difficult to time. Sometimes I do it every 2 days if the opportunity is there, and other times it just can be over a week. But it is true that I try to time it well when it's gonna be. So, for example, if I see that the weather is gonna be bad for the following days, then I will try to wash my hair before that to make sure that it dries properly. Or, for example, if I see that there's no fountains coming in a long time because we might be heading up on a plateau above 2000 meters for a few days, then I'll try to wash my hair before the climb to make sure I don't have to wear it for a few days. So, yeah, I do try to time it a little bit, but I mean, this thing can last just for a few days, and otherwise, you can always put it back. For a long time, I was using liquid shampoo since it's practical to fill it up on the way. Depending on where you'll cycle, you'll be able to restock pretty easily. But chances are you won't find many nature-friendly products. In this case, I'd stick to brands like Dr. Bronner or use other shampoos somewhere far away from a stream. Nevertheless, I have now been using dry shampoo for a long time, and one of these bars, this one is from Nature Box, will last me approximately 4 months. So, depending on how long I'm planning to ride, I can estimate the number of bars I need to bring it along. Also, in the past, I used to carry this refillable container for conditioner, but I realized that it's not really necessary, and actually, the shampoo bar just does a good job by itself. I carry a small hairbrush and hair comb with me. I comb my hair every morning before we head off on the road and every evening before going to sleep. In general, I really despise having hair on my face. This is why I always have hairpins, hairbands, or a headband nearby. After 3 or 4 days of cycling and no opportunities for washing, my scalp feels a little greasy, which means it is time to braid. It took me a while to learn how to do it, but wow, it's so practical on the road and it looks pretty cool. I don't have a strict face skincare routine, not even at home. I try to apply sunscreen on my face in the mornings before departure since we spend a lot of hours outside. But it is true that with the years, I have realized that I have gotten more sun marks on my face. So even though I don't love wearing a cream on my face because it gets sticky from all the sweat and all the dust, I have learned my lesson and now I always apply cream before we depart. Right now, I am using my Y sunscreen, which I'm very happy with because it absorbs very well. Other than that, I like carrying with me a simple hydration cream, which I'll apply in the evenings after cleaning up my face. In Europe and the US stores, I've also been carrying a leaf of aloe vera, the plant, because it's very rehydrating and one of those leaves lasts me for about a month. I think this is very unique to me, and I haven't at least met anyone else that does it, but I guess we all have our eccentricities. For the body, I do carry a standard body lotion, which I keep on refilling on the way. I only use it on random days to make sure it lasts, and I'll most probably apply it on my legs and arms because I have very dry skin. And like with my face, I also put sunscreen, 30 or 50 solar protection factor on my exposed areas. When I run out of something, it's generally easy to refill at a city on the way. So I just buy the product, fill up my containers, and if there's anything left, I will give it to someone or I would leave it, for example, at a hostel. Another thing I take care of also when touring are my feet. The soles of my feet are so dry. Every evening, if I'm able to somewhat clean my feet, I'll spread some of the body cream on them too, and when there's access to a water source, I'll sit by it and use a foot file to remove the dead skin. Cracked feet can be very painful in the long run, so if, like me, you suffer from this issue, then it's good to give your feet a little treat every once in a while. For a long time already, I've been trying out different kinds of cruelty-free or solid or organic deodorants, but unfortunately, there hasn't been much luck. The armpit smell is my weakness, so I think I may just need stronger or more chemical deodorants than other people. Tristan is happy with his Lecker natural deodorant, but I generally carry a standard roller commercial version. Other than that, I also carry alcohol sanitizer, a small hand cream, lip balm, and a lip UV protection balm handy, which I use very often. Well, we have reached one of the maybe most annoying subjects, which is body hair. There is this stigma around women and body hair and whether we should keep it or be ashamed of it. Well, in my case, when I became 18, I started using this permanent technique, which is the laser. The reason is that I was a swimmer. I was almost on my swimsuit practically every single day, and I found body hair pretty annoying and I guess shameful. So I am happy I used the laser. I still have some hair growing in my legs, my armpits from my pubic area, which I keep on removing. But this is my personal preference. I'm not a big fan of hair. Otherwise, if you are happy with growing hair in any part of your body, you shouldn't be ashamed of just having it. And by all means, you should just keep it there. It's definitely the most easy, most comfortable, and yeah, especially for traveling. When on tour, I carry cold wax strips for the couple of hairs I have left on my legs and armpits. They are small, light, and super easy to use, plus, it's quick and not very painful. I would say it's probably the most easygoing solution unless you are happy with using a razor, which I don't because my skin is a little bit sensitive to it. In case of needing it, my partner Tristan carries one, so I'll just ask to borrow it. Feeling comfortable with your pubic hair is probably the best thing you can do. I would totally discourage anyone from completely shaving with a razor, especially if you're gonna hop on the bike shortly afterwards, because this can create itchiness, rashes, zits. So, another good solution is to just trim with scissors. It's quite the job, but if you have sensitive skin, then it's going to be a good solution. For the face, I am lucky not to have a mustache issue, so I don't do anything about that one. For my eyebrows, I carry a little mirror with me and tweezers, and I'll just take care of them randomly over a break. This is probably the subject most of you are concerned about when considering a bike tour. In my case, I have never allowed my period to stop me from doing anything. Perhaps I am a lucky one since I don't feel very painful or affected by it, and if I do, an ibuprofen will generally remove my ache temporarily. I do, however, feel, heavy and uncomfortable, especially not knowing what the day is gonna look like, what I'm gonna find, what the situation is gonna be. If it's possible to time where I'll be when my next period will come, luckily I'm a pretty consistent person with my periods, then I will plan to be at an accommodation to go through the most discomforting days at peace. It is reasonable to organize a trip around a period, and it's totally normal if you need it to stop a couple days and just take a rest. I've been using menstrual cups for years now, but my relationship with them is not the smoothest. I love the concept to not to produce waste and even have longer periods of time without having to change, but oof, it can be a messy business to change out in the wild. Unfortunately, somehow menstrual cups haven't worked very well with me. Sometimes I struggle for them to open properly and I start leaking. I think that in the past 4 years, I've used three different types, and only recently I have found one that works pretty well for me. It is called Cycle, and it's made of a softer silicone but with a more rigid ring than the other ones I had tried. This helps with it opening up inside properly, but what works for me even better is to insert it while standing. I'll only use a menstrual cup on the road when water is not a problem. I like to rinse it properly before reusing, and if possible, I'll boil it before my next period to disinfect it fully. Usually, a hidden spot, some toilet paper, and a bottle of water is all I need to change remotely. Actually, I'd rather do this on the wild than at a questionably cleaned public toilet. I will have it inside of me for about 4 hours on the first days and up to 12 hours on the last ones. If you have never used a menstrual cup, I would totally recommend that you try it out within the comforts of your home. Do watch a couple videos to know how it should be done, and yeah, enjoy the freedom. Even though I'm an advocate for menstrual cups, like I said, sometimes the conditions to change are not optimum, or sometimes there will be moments where I just cannot get it to open properly and it'll start leaking. So, in these situations, I'll use a tampon. I always carry them with me just in case, without an applicator, and they're super easygoing and clean to use. Much less trouble than a menstrual cup for sure. The problem is what to do with the used tampons, because it's stinky stuff. Well, I wrap them in toilet paper and usually store them in a trash bag we generally carry around with until we find the right place to dispose them. For pads, I know that they're reusable ones. I have never tried them myself yet, but I have heard good things about them. It's just that on tour, washing is not always that easy, especially with water since it's a precious resource and you don't never really know when you're gonna be able to restock. So on tour, I carry very thin pads, but I rarely use them because I find them uncomfortable and wasteful. Of course, the most comfortable thing to do is to not wear any underwear on your chamois, but it is not very realistic since you cannot wash your padded pants every single day. This is why, at least for me, underwear is always a yes. Some girls are happy with wearing any kind of underwear and any kind of pants, but in my case, at least for the long rides, I have to wear padded pants because otherwise my buttock will be very painful. The underwear I found most comfortable to use is a seamless microfiber panty with a Brazilian cut because there are no parts rubbing repeatedly against my skin. The inner layer is made of cotton, which is crucial for breathability, and they are so small that I can pack 10 of them comfortably in the same space as 2 pairs of socks, for example. I like to change my underwear often, even twice a day, so this model has really made it possible for me to carry a bunch of them without even being concerned for the space. Nowadays, I only carry one bra with me on the road. It's some kind of a sports bra from Uniqlo, which can also be worn as a top when it's very hot. It also dries very fast and it's wireless and seamless, so super comfortable. All my dirty clothes are stored in a specific little bag. In the most ideal situations, we can wash our clothes in a washing machine, but we've gone around a month with only hand washing. We wash our clothes outdoors with the same multi-use biodegradable Dr. Bronner soap, which does the job, generally in fountains or on the way by just pouring water from our bottles. We hang the clothes to dry on a tree or over the tent, and if it's not too cold, then we'll just wear the wet clothes or hang them from the bike as we ride. For drying out, we each carry a small microfiber towel from Magnet. It's light and dries super fast. Getting used to peeing and pooping on the road is something you're just gonna have to get used to when going on a bike tour. Whenever we go past a town, then I do try to time myself to take a toilet break, but it's not always possible. So eventually you just need to get used to the idea of getting off the road, finding a spot, squatting, and doing your business. There are devices you can use to stand up while peeing. I have never tried them out, but I guess that if you are traveling with men or just cannot go too far to pee or hide, then it seems like a good solution. In my case, I have never needed one of those, and hiding behind a bush is all I need. Pooping is another business. There are some things you should take into account before pooping in the wild. When choosing a spot, you should never be very close to a stream. It's better to do it far away. And you should, of course, never be close to plants like nettle or just watch out for ants. I've heard stories. Next, always bring with you a trowel and dig a hole of around 10 to 15 centimeters where you'll be squatting over. This is the most respectful way of defecating in the wild, and No. Planting a big rock on top is not the correct approach unless there is no other option. After doing your stuff, collect the toilet paper and store it in a bag or bring it back with you to the trash. Never, ever, ever leave the toilet paper in the hole you dug or laying around on the spot. Then fill in the hole again and that's it. You're done. It's quite a process if you're in a hurry, but when traveling, you eventually find a pattern and the whole act does not longer seem like a challenge. Riding for so many hours on a saddle and wearing the same pants in this humid and sweaty environment is definitely not very good, and it can cause problems like yeast infections or rashes on your bum. It hasn't been my situation, but if it's something that you would be vulnerable to, then it's best if you consult with a doctor and you bring the medication in advance or just purchase it on the go. I have sensitive skin, so I like to carry some talcum with me and apply it in the bum area in the evenings after airing it a little bit. It's very important to get off your chamois when you're not riding to give the skin a break. Other practical stuff for me to use are some eye drops since my eyes get super dry. And oh, don't forget to inspect every once in a while all around your body in search for ticks. I carry a tick remover with me just in case. I have found ticks on me in the past, but luckily they hadn't bitten yet. At home we love to use electrical toothbrushes, but on the road I use a bamboo or an old, never-dying plastic toothbrush. We use charcoal toothpaste because when you spit, it does less damage, plus it doesn't leave a disgusting white splurge behind. My ears I clean with an ear scraper or with wooden ear cotton buds. I take turns between these so that my wooden cotton buds last longer, but do be careful with the ear scraper since you can damage your internal ear if you insert it too deep. A little pair of scissors, a nail clipper, and a nail file is all I carry. I never paint my nails, so this keeps things easy. I'm not very much into makeup, but it is true that on a longer adventure, it can feel nice to be a little bit more enhanced, especially on a city break. This is why sometimes I carry with me a concealer and eye mask, but generally I'd say it's not worth to carry makeup, at least not for me. Practically all my hygiene related things fit in this travel bag, and inside there's just different Ziploc bags or containers to separate things per category. Surprisingly enough, most of the things I shared in this video fit in my Muji pouch. The pouch is stored then in one of the rear panniers, but I keep some things handy in my fanny bag like the lip balm or a hand cream since I usually use those often throughout the day. So, this is what I carry on a bike tour. As you can see, there is a lot of hygienic stuff. I hope that you have found this video useful. I am pretty sure that there's many things I missed, so any knowledge, products, items that you can think of, please write about them on the comment section below so that other people can read it. I am hoping that by sharing all this kind of information, we can together help destigmatize this kind of topics and also just help out other women. And if you have reached all the way until this point, thanks for tagging along. It is very difficult for me to make this kind of videos because, I don't know, looking at the camera is just very, is very scary. But I hope I didn't make many mistakes. We'll have to see. And if you would like to support the work that Tristan and I do creating content about bicycle tours, then you can do so by becoming a patron. Otherwise, if you would like to just know what we're up to, because probably by the time I upload this video we'll be somewhere cycling, then you can just follow us on Instagram and just say hi. Thanks a lot for watching. Wow, 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 wow. I know how to speak English. Wow. Pronounce, wow, wow, wow.